everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I'm going to give it to you anyways. This is a podcast where I talk about anything, everything, and anything about movies. I'm your host, Chase Lee, and hey, guys, listen. If you're searching on the internet for the weird, fucked up Super Bowl 50 commercials that just aired a couple hours ago, and you accidentally came across my movie podcast and you're not a movie fan, well, hey, maybe I can convince you to be one. So this is episode 116, guys, and we're gonna talk about some movie news. We're gonna talk about a shit ton of trailers that just dropped, particularly 2 hours ago, and my review of Hail Caesar, and of course the box office results for the weekend. So with that being said, let me take a sip of my Pepsi. I'm recording this late at night, so let's boogie on down and get all sexual. If I was that type of podcast, I'd totally do it. But no, I usually don't record these episodes really late or anything, but this episode I am focusing on the Super Bowl movie trailers for some of the show, so I needed to sit through all of it, just make sure I watched all of them, make sure I had all of them written down, and what I was going to say about them. So before we get going, if you're watching on YouTube and you want an audio-only version of this podcast, link will be in the description below. And if you're listening on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or SoundCloud, and you want a video version, you want to see me flail around on my new webcam, by the way. This is a new webcam I'm recording on. It's very fluid, and it's way better than my old one, so it should look pretty crisp. It's HD, so you can see all the nasty acne pores and my neck beard growing. It's pretty sexy, so... new webcam. It should be very good for all the YouTube watchers out there. So, with that being said, guys, let's do this. Episode 116 is on its way. So, the first piece of news I want to talk about is the Power Rangers movie. Now, I am not looking forward to it by any stretch of the imagination. So, some news dropped about it this week, and the evil lady in it, the evil witch, Rita, who is the crazy one on the show, where she has like terrible dubbing. So she was cast in the movie, which is strange. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what kind of B-level horror actress was casted as Rita in the Power Rangers? It's Elizabeth Banks. Yeah, you remember her? The horny blonde woman from 40-Year-Old Virgin that like wanted Steve Carell to suck on her toe in the movie. Yeah, she's playing Rita in the Power Rangers movie. She's also been in movies like Zack and Mary Make a Porno and Pitch Perfect, Wet Hot American Summer. So she's been around everywhere. She's starting to dip her toe into directing a bit, and now she's going to revert back to the Power Rangers. Yippee skippy. Fuck me, that sounds awful. But I gotta tell you, I was not interested in the Power Rangers movie whatsoever. But with Elizabeth Banks being in the movie as the villain, I'm kind of interested now. I'm kind of interested to see if she's gonna go like super campy with it, or they're gonna try to make this serious. I don't fucking know, but I'm kind of fucking scared to find out. So, that's the first piece of news, that Elizabeth Banks is playing Rita, the evil person in the Power Rangers movie. This movie's going to bomb. I said it when it first came out, and I will say it again. It will bomb very, very hard, and I don't know why Sabra, or Sabretooth, or whatever the fuck the company's name is that owns Power Rangers, I have no idea why they think this is a great idea to release this movie in theaters. Because the first one, I remember, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, which I saw 1,000 times, as a kid, and I still kind of do now. Not really. I haven't seen it in like 10 years, maybe. That did okay at the box office. And then they had a sequel called Power Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, and that thing flopped on its dick. I think it only made like 5 million total, like worldwide. Like it was pretty damn low. So, but with Elizabeth Banks joining Power Rangers movie, I'm actually kind of curious now. So, she probably got fat paid to be in this movie, so good for you, Elizabeth Banks. The next piece of news is that Vin Diesel, the ever so loving talking testicle, he's very a big presence on social media, and his Facebook account's ridiculous. I think it's got like 50 million likes or something. I don't know. He's crazy. Him and Dwayne The Rock Johnson are like Facebook and Twitter gurus. So what's the piece of news, you may ask? Well, Vin Diesel, the star of the Fast and Furious franchise and other failing franchise like Last Witch Hunter. So we know that the 8th movie is going to come out. And I have the dates written here. And that is April 14th of 2017, which is next year. So roughly about a year and a couple months away. Fast and Furious 8 will drop. Then he released the scheduled dates for 9 and 10. Number 9 comes out April 19th, 1919, or 1919. What the fuck? Okay, so apparently I just regressed about 100 years. 2019. And Fast and Furious 10 is going to come out April 2nd, 2021. This is kind of interesting. I don't know why Vin Diesel would release the dates for specifically a movie that is not even coming out for another 5 years. It just seems kind of weird to me, but am I excited about these Fast and Furious sequels? Oh, fuck yeah, I am. Listen, I've been a champion of Fast and Furious for the longest time. I've liked it all the way since the first one. I even like the third one, and I like the fact that they're all out of order and stuff because chronologically, if you look at it, it goes 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, and 7. So that's how it is story-wise in the movie. So I think that's kind of clever. But number 8, I already knew they were doing. I already knew they were doing this trilogy, so they have their next trilogy set. When Fast and Furious came out in 2001, I was a 5th grader, and of course, I was into cars and I guess chicks in like half wearing clothes or whatever, because that's what all that movie is. That movie's made for dudes, and so as a 5th grader, I was 11 years old, and I liked it. I was like, well, my little puberty self just loved fast cars and women, so I continued on with the franchise, and I've really grown to love it, especially the absurdity of it, especially number 7. I just cannot believe that after it's been going for 15 years now, that they're going to be going to number 10. Like, did you ever think as a youngin', like as a little kid, that you were just like, Fast and Furious is going to make it to 10 entries? It's fucking ridiculous, man. So, I'm actually excited about the news. I just, you're releasing it 5 years in advance. It's like, yikes. Sure, I'll buy it. But I'm excited to see where they take it. And it's sad that Paul Walker will not be joining it. But, it was a nice little send-off for number 7. The next piece of news and the final piece of news for this week, Bryan Singer, the director of X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men Days of Future Past, and X-Men Apocalypse, will be directing a non-X-Men movie very shortly, and that would be the adaptation of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Now, this is a movie that's been, I think made a couple times, once by Disney and once I think it was a TV movie. Honestly, it hasn't been really made that many times, and you kind of figure with an old story like that, you figure there'd be plenty of adaptations out there, but honestly, there's not. But with Bryan Singer tackling this, and they start shooting in the fall, by the way. So that was the news. But I'm all on board for this. I love Bryan Singer's X-Men films. I'm a huge superhero junkie, as you guys can fucking tell from the posters behind me. But I like his non-X-Men movies too. The Usual Suspects is one of my favorite movies of all time. He also did Valkyrie, which I think is a very solid movie that kind of gets flown under the radar a little bit. It's a very nice little Tom Cruise movie. And what else has he done? Oh, he did Jack the Giant Slayer. Gross. I didn't watch that movie, but the trailers were enough for me to like stay the fuck away from it. So, with him doing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, I'm excited because this is a guy that knows how to tackle epic storylines. Look at Days of Future Past. It had like 100,000 characters in it. It felt very epic in scale. And Bryan Singer's got X-Men Apocalypse coming out, and that looks even bigger than Days of Future Past. So he can create epic environments. And I think with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, I would be very interested to see his take. But I remember one of the directors in talks to do the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea movie was actually David Fincher. Can you imagine what that fucking movie would be like. It would be dark, it would be gritty, it would be disturbing, and it would be everything my little heart desires. So that would have been amazing. But Bryan Singer's still a great choice because, let's face it, he has done one of the best movies of all time, which is Usual Suspects, and, you know, he's very well known in the superhero genre. He's done Valkyrie and stuff, so he's kind of got like this nice little range as a director, and I'd be very curious to see what he does with the project. So that will be it for all the news stories, guys. Let's jump into the trailers and the Super Bowl trailers. You know, the appetizer, it's gone. So let's get into like the first course before we get into the main course, which is Hail Caesar. So let's talk about the Super Bowl trailers that dropped and some of the other trailers that dropped, you know, sprinkled their little, you know, fairy dust throughout the week. So I did sit through the Super Bowl. You know, this is not a sports podcast, but it was a very, very good game until the very end when it was a nice little blowout. But I did enjoy the movie trailers. Ironically, I did not like any of the Super Bowl like commercials because they were all fucking weird and just fucking weird. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like there was commercials for like IBS colon stuff, which is like what I have, which is weird to see. Advil, laundry detergent. It was just a weird group of stuff, and then cars, of course. So, but that's besides the point. We're here to talk about movies, right? Talk about some movies. All right. So let's talk about some of the trailers that dropped throughout the week, and then I'll get into the Super Bowl stuff. There were two trailers that dropped, two regular trailers that dropped throughout the week. No Super Bowl promotion. It was just, they kind of just happened. And the first one is Ice Age Continental or Collision Course. Continental Drift, I think, is the fourth one. Either ways, fuck you. I don't want to see it. Listen, I remember when the first one came out in like 2002, and I enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit. And I say this while looking at my trilogy over there that I have in the corner. Ice Age The Meltdown is fine, and the Dawn of Dinosaurs is whatever. I don't know why I have that. I think that's my brother's actually. But I didn't see the fourth one. I was working at the movie theater at the time, and it looked awful, and I did not want to see it. This fifth one looks bad. I just like the first one felt like this really like kind of grand scale story about the Ice Age with these moments with these characters that you can kind of like get behind. They're very heroic and stuff. I don't know. I felt like the first one was a nice little solid animated family adventure, and just kind of dove into this like really bad like Cartoon Network type of show with brighter colors and stuff. Because if you look at the color palette between number 1 and number 5, it is fascinating to see how the first one is like a little bit darker. And now the fifth one's like super bright and colorful for the kids and stuff. And it's like, I don't care. I really don't. I'm glad that Ray Romano and John Leguizamo and Dennis Leary can get paid, but they've been with this franchise for 5 movies now. I do not care. If you are a fan of them, let me know what you think of it down below. But I'm telling you right now, I don't care. Ray Romano as a mammoth. Like, did he ever think that he'd wake up in the middle of his career and go, "I'm the star of Everybody Loves Raymond. What's my next step in life?" Well, I could do that, or I could voice a mammoth in Ice Age. That sounds fucking awesome, and it's gonna carry on for 5 movies, and I'll be very well off with those movies. I just whatever. So, Ice Age Continental Course, whatever, came out. At least it's not as bad as Alvin and the Fuck Monks. I mean, Alvin and the Shit Monks. I mean, Alvin and the Dick Monks. Those movies need to go away. Like, just go be buried off into Area 51 somewhere and be experimented on, and wonder why in the hell they were released in the first place. So the next trailer that came out, this is way better than Ice Age 5, is Miles Ahead, and this is directed and starring Don Cheadle, and he plays the legendary Miles Davis, the jazz musician. And wait, yeah, I just had a brain fart. It is Miles Davis. Yes, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking of. I think I was thinking of Louis Armstrong for some weird reason. So it stars Don Cheadle. It's directed by him, and it's going to be a biopic on this guy's life and stuff. And I don't know much about Miles Davis at all, but I know he's a very famous musician. I've listened to some of the jazz tracks that he's done, and he is a legend among that community. But this biopic looks great, and I think this is Don Cheadle's first movie he has directed. So it looks awesome. It looks like this is a movie poised to, appease the biopic fans, and it looks like it could be an Oscar movie at the same time while being entertaining. It just looks like a really rich story that looks well shot, well acted. It looks like it's firing on all cylinders. I'm totally on board. So check out Miles Ahead, the Miles Davis trailer. I usually like biopics. I can't recall any that I've ever loved to a point where I just can watch them over and over again. But last year, I really enjoyed Straight Outta Compton, and I actually just got it on Blu-ray a couple days ago, and I really want to rewatch it again because I was actually kind of blown away by it. So if they can make Miles Head a biopic that's just as good or even greater than Straight Outta Compton, we're good to go, man. So Miles Ahead looks fucking awesome. All right, so we got those two out of the way. Now, this show is called Hail Caesar and Super Bowl movie trailers, so let's talk about some motherfucking Super Bowl trailers. Let me take a drink of my Pepsi. I don't know why I'm drinking this so late, guys, because now I'm going to be up with all this caffeine running through my veins. But, I have to deliver this for you guys. So if you guys want me to not be drowsy, this is it right here. So Pepsi, it tastes terrible. It just rots your teeth. It's like liquid rotting. All right, so the first Super Bowl trailer, I think it was during one of the pre-shows. It was super early. I didn't actually play throughout the game, but is Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is Alice in Wonderland 2. And it didn't really have any new footage. It was just kind of more of a compact trailer. What I've been noticing recently with their new promotional material and stuff is that they're really featuring Alan Rickman's voice as the Caterpillar, which is sad because he, passed away last month. And I think Alice Through the Looking Glass was his final film, so I think they're really kind of pushing that. And plus, the Caterpillar kind of led the first one anyway, so it makes sense. It's just I realize that they've done a shift now since he has passed. But yeah, there's really no new footage. I'm not really looking forward to the sequel. I remember I worked at the theater when the first one came out, and I didn't even see it for free until weeks later when I took my my friend Patrick and we went down to the movie theater, and we watched it super late, and I fell asleep during some of the third act a little bit. So he liked it, and I had to rewatch it for some of the third act since I missed it. I still didn't care for it. It's just a colorful, vomity mess, and I just don't care. But the only reason I'm actually kind of curious about the Alice in Wonderland sequel is Sacha Baron Cohen playing Time, and I've always been a huge fan of him. Ever since I was first exposed to him in Borat, but the first ever movie I saw him in, without even noticing it was him, was Ricky Bobby. But Borat was my first introduction to him, which is a fascinating introduction once you see that movie. But it looks just more of the same, and Tim Burton's not directing it; he's producing it. So, not for me. But with the 30-second spot, I'm still not intrigued. But when it comes out, if I see it for free, I guess I'll go. But someone wants to drag me to it, but I'm not going to physically get up and go, I should see Alice in Wonderland 2. Not going to happen. So the next trailer I want to talk about, and this is one of my favorite ones of the night, and it happened, I think, right before the game started, and that would be Marvel's Civil War. This thing was compact, and I think it was 30, 45 seconds. So, or it might have been a minute. I don't know. It felt really long, but this trailer was great. It pretty much compacted the whole movie within this short time frame. We see a little bit more of the conflict between Iron Man and Captain America, and the best shot of the entire trailer. Well, two shots. We see the lineup of the teams, and we see Cap's team, and we actually see Ant-Man next to Cap and Falcon and Black Widow and Hawkeye, and then it cuts to Iron Man's side with Vision, Scarlet Witch, Scarlet Witch on Cap's side. I forgot. I need to remember that. And then the last shot you see of Iron Man's team is it kind of dollies out to Black Panther, and Black Panther looks so cool. I fucking love his suit, man, because it's was it vibranium? Because I keep getting them mixed up because in the comics it's adamantium, but in the movies they have to be separate because adamantium is Wolverine's claws, and in Cap's shield and Black Panther's suit, I think it's vibranium, I believe. I always get it mixed up because that's not what it's called in the comics. Yeah, so Cap's shield is made out of vibranium, which is from the country Wakanda, and in Wakanda, Black Panther rules that area, and vibranium is like the most prized element in that area, and that's what Cap Shield's made out of. And you know, it's like one of the strongest materials in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Black Panther's suit is kind of cool because it has like strips of the vibranium throughout his suit, and I think his finger claws are vibranium as well. So if he scratches you, you ain't gonna take his fucking claws off. They will scratch you and fuck you up, son. So the Civil War trailer was great. It showed a little bit more of action. It showed some more facial, emotional shots from Iron Man, which looked really cool. But I'm telling you, the last two shots were great just to see the lineup. But I'm just so worried because Iron Man's got vision. And if you guys have seen Age of Ultron by now, which has almost been a year, by the way, can you believe that? Vision is unstoppable. Like, he is a strong force of nature, and I just don't know how anyone can take him down. Like, he could literally take on everyone and wipe him out in a heartbeat. So I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play that out, but it's directed by the Russo brothers, who brought us Winter Soldier, and they're also going to direct Infinity War. So, and Winter Soldier is definitely top 3 for me in terms of my favorite Marvel movies so far. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Civil War. And this 30-second spot just gets me more amped up, son. Get here, May. Fucking get here. So the next trailer I want to talk about, which is a very weird one. Not weird in the sense that it wasn't good, just weird in how they presented it. The Jungle Book movie. And this is the live-action version of the movie that Disney, one of the movies that they're famous for. And it showed a little bit more footage of Mowgli running around in the jungle or whatever. And what was interesting about the trailer is that they had like this 3D pop-out effect to where, like, like for instance, when you watch this on YouTube, you got a black bar down here and you got a black bar up here. And what was weird is, like, typically when you have like a widescreen look, everything that happens inside the black bars is where the footage is at. But they would like their hand would pop out, beyond the black bar or whatever in front of it, or like their head or something. So like it had this like 3D effect. And I was wondering if that was like Disney's subtle way of going, nudge, nudge, nudge. This is in fucking 3D, kids. Beg your mom to go see it. It looked cool and stuff. And I think my favorite part of the trailer was at the very end when Baloo was like looking at Mowgli, and he talked. He finally talked, because in the first trailer he didn't talk at all, and he's voiced by Bill fucking Murray, and I think he sounded good. Like, because a lot of people that went to D23, which is the Disney Expo last year, they showed the Jungle Book footage, and they said that Bill Murray didn't really work with Baloo, and I was like, okay, well that kind of gets me down a little bit. But when the trailer was over with, I didn't expect him to talk, and when he did, I was like, Bill Murray kind of works. I'm okay with it. Now listen, if there's like a scene or whatever that's more long drawn out that kind of turns me the wrong way, sure. But the snippet that I saw, literally that quick sentence, he sounded good as Baloo. I believed him as a bear. So I guess Bill Murray's spirit animal is a fucking bear. That's what we've learned. So Jungle Book looks great. I love the fact that they create all the environments and the characters. The only person that's real is Mowgli, played by a young little actor, but everything else is CG. And they shot it all on a soundstage in California. And that imagery is just breathtaking. Like, it's ridiculous. So Jungle Book, I'm excited for it. And the trailer was it was really good. And I really liked when Baloo spoke. The next trailer I want to talk about is Jason Bourne. This is the fifth in the Bourne franchise. Now, full disclosure, my friend Brian absolutely hates me when I say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again for you guys at home. Let me take a drink to play out the suspense a little bit. I've never seen any of the Bourne movies. I watched like the third one, like 10 minutes of it. That was it. But I gotta tell you, the Jason Bourne trailer, regardless of what I think of the title, because I don't know much about the history or whatever, so I can't really judge on its title because I don't really know the franchise that well. The trailer looks cool. I'm actually really intrigued to see it now, and I think it would be really cool for me to jump in on the fifth one first before the first four. I know the fourth one's not Jason Bourne. It's something Cross or whatever. I forgot what Jeremy Renner played, but the fifth one looks great. The action was like super gritty, and I felt like Matt Damon was actually punching me and stuff like that. It felt real, and I really liked what was presented in the trailer because when you have a Super Bowl spot, you spend $5 million for a 30-second ad spot. And they crammed a lot in that 30 seconds. I think it was 45, but they crammed a lot. And there was a lot of action sequences. It looked cool. It looked like the feel of the first three from all the trailers I've seen and stuff. So, and it's called Jason Bourne. We didn't know what the title was until now at the Super Bowl. So it's called Jason Bourne. The title, I'm indifferent to it, like I said, because I'm not used to the franchise at all. I'm not familiar with it. But this trailer actually makes me want to see it. And Brian texted me after he saw it, and he really liked it. So, coming from a Bourne fan that likes it, and from myself that's not really a huge fan because I've never seen him, I think it could be a really nice little summer blockbuster hit. So Jason Bourne looks pretty dope. This next one will be very fast and painless. A new trailer for Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows dropped. I'm still not interested. It is the same shit as the first trailer. They maybe added a couple more scenes, but I'm just not interested. With the caveat of, I actually dug the first one. I know, it's weird. It's fucking weird. It just kind of blows your mind. But I actually kind of enjoyed watching the first one. I saw it in theaters with my roommate, and I can tell you right now, full-heartedly, that I enjoyed it on a very, very weird level. Was it corny and stupid? Sure. Is Megan Fox's acting getting any better? Not really, but I had fun with it, and I don't want to see the sequel, but if I am dragged to it for whatever reason, I'm not going to, be totally upset because I'm actually curious as to, I don't know, it's weird. It's just one of those movies. It's not really a guilty pleasure, but it's kind of borderline a guilty pleasure. But I did enjoy the first one, and the sequel, the trailer just looks stupid. But if I get dragged to it, I'll just, here we go. I'll go see it. But yeah, it's really the same stuff. It's nothing really new to talk about. So I can't believe Paramount shelled out $5 million for that shit. So. The next trailer I want to talk about is the Independence Day Resurgence trailer that dropped during the Super Bowl. Holy shit. This trailer was all destruction. It was like destruction shot. And I was like, holy shit, there's so much going on. I didn't know where to look. And Jeff Goldblum popped up, Liam Hemsworth. I don't know how I feel about this movie overall. Because when the first trailer dropped, I actually really liked it. But I'm not the hugest Independence Day fan in general. But I'll go see this. I like Jeff Goldblum. Is this a microphone? That's a big pile of dino shit. So I'll work with my Goldblum, I promise. Actually, I can't promise that because it gets worse every time. It looks fine, and the destruction shots look cool. The CGI looks really polished and kind of had an upgrade because, the first one came out in the 90s. So, it's not going to look particularly good in the 90s. They had to use a lot of models and stuff. But this one looks really good. And, as a summer blockbuster, I might go see it. I'm just not as a crazy fan as some people of Independence Day. But I will admit that the first Independence Day has a lot of great one-liners. Welcome to Earth, bitch. Punch an alien in the face. That's what everyone strives to be, is Will Smith punching an alien in the face. Two more trailers to talk about for the Super Bowl trailers. The next trailer I want to talk about is The Secret Life of Pets, and this was a 30-second spot, I believe. Didn't really add anything new. It's literally some of the same jokes with like a couple more shots. It's really not. I honestly think Universal shouldn't have even put this in the Super Bowl. I get it. Kids film, family, Super Bowl, family event. I get it, which was fucking weird. I'll get to that in just a second as a little side note. But I honestly don't think that Universal should have dropped it here. I know it's weird to say, but it's kind of a waste. Because there was really nothing new. I'm sure most people were just like me. Were just like, I've already seen this. So, excuse me. So yeah, I don't know why they dropped a trailer, but yeah, it was there. It was whatever. Still same jokes. Add some new stuff in there, Universal, if you're gonna do some more promotional stuff for it. And then the last Super Bowl trailer that I marked down on my list was X-Men Apocalypse. Okay. This film looks fucking awesome. There was a lot of the same shots used, but most of the shots that were in this Super Bowl spot were action shots. And we saw Cyclops use his vision ray or whatever it's called. We saw Psylocke, played by Olivia Munn, and she was using I don't know much about the character, so I apologize, so don't chastise me too bad, but she was using her blades, and she was like cutting through something, so that kind of looked cool. We saw Quicksilver run. We saw Jean Grey, I think, used her powers, so it was just a bunch of action shots and some really cool apocalypse confrontations and stuff, and it looks awesome. I cannot wait. I remember when me and my friends saw Days of Future Past. It was at the opening of the Alamo Draft House in the Richardson area, just outside of Dallas, and it was the opening weekend of that theater or whatever, and we went. And, I don't think it was the opening weekend, but it was like around there. But you guys get what I mean. But it was like a cool experience, and the movie was awesome and stuff. So it's one of my favorite movie experiences for sure. But I'm super excited for X-Men Apocalypse. It just looks fucking awesome. Like, because Days of Future Past next to X-Men 2 are my two favorites. So Bryan Singer, take us home, man. Bring us another go, and I am ready for it. So like I said, not really any new shots, just a lot of action shots to see some of the newer mutants use their powers, especially the younger ones, because after Apocalypse, they want to kind of reboot the franchise with these new people, which is cool because the kid that plays Cyclops, the kid version, is Ty Sheridan, and I got to meet him in 2014 for the Dallas International Film Festival. He had his movie Joe there, and I got to talk to him and stuff, and it was really weird to freak out over a 17-year-old because at this point I was 24, so it's kind of strange because his dad was in the room because, when actors are below 18, their parents they have to be with them at events and the movies and stuff. So it was just weird for me to fanboy out over someone that was in high school, essentially, because I really liked him in Mud and stuff. And I've been following Ty Sheridan's career for since Mud. And I just think he's a really well-rounded actor, and he's just growing. And the fact he's going to be in this big ass blockbuster and I got to meet him, I got the picture to prove it. It's awesome. Fucking awesome. So X-Men Apocalypse comes out Memorial Day weekend. I'm just excited for it. So that is the Super Bowl trailer portion of the podcast. So thank you for joining me, guys. I'm gone. All right, so that would be shitty. That would be the worst episode ever. All right, guys, this is gonna be tough because now we're getting into the entree. We're getting into the main course of the podcast. I just got really like that was like sexual radio there. I was like, all right, now we're gonna get into some sexy nighttime news with Chase Lee. No, I would actually be a terrible radio host if I hosted like one of those like late night sex lines or whatever. All right, next caller. Oh shit, I'm freaking myself out. All right, so let's give a little lead up into the movie. So we're talking about Hail Caesar. Now, I've been a huge fan of the Coen brothers. They are some of my favorite filmmakers. They're original, they're funny, they're quirky. They have some really great dark comedic ideas. They're just original, and I like that. They come up with original ideas. They are their own ideas. They have a distinct style to where if you watch one of the movies, you can tell it was made by them. My favorite being Fargo. I love, The Big Lebowski. A Serious Man is like my second favorite. I really like Burn After Reading, No Country for Old Men. True Grit was fine and stuff. So they've been around for quite some time. Now I need to watch some of their older stuff. That's my fault, but I will get to that. So my roommate and I go see Hail Caesar. I leave the movie. We both looked at each other and we had the same reaction. And we said, I don't know what to think of that. I text some people afterwards, telling them, I honestly don't know what to think about it. So the whole time while I was watching the Super Bowl and leading up to this show, I was like, how in the holy fuck tits am I going to talk about this movie? Because I honestly don't know where to begin. Let's get real and break this down. Hail Caesar is directed and written by the Coen brothers, like I said. Let's start with the directing and the writing, because I think this is where the biggest problems lie. Now, I'm going to start out with my review by saying I like a lot of parts of it, but I dislike a lot of parts of it. There were a lot of moving parts to this movie, and some of which could have been taken out, and they would have not made a damn difference. Or they could have taken one idea that was really good and ran with it, or go in this other direction and run with it. But they were doing so many things at once, it got convoluted, it was weighed down, and that might be one of my biggest problems about this movie. So let's do with the directing and writing, like I said. Let's start with the positives. The positives for the writing and directing, I will say that the Coen brothers really paid homage to the golden age of cinema back in the 50s and stuff. Just everything that it looks so good, going from the production design to the art direction, just from the camera work and the way the actors portrayed older actors back in the day, and the absurdity of random musicals and bars and these really heavy-handed dramas and these silly spaghetti westerns. They captured that beautifully, and it looked pristine. And it was shot by Roger Deakins, which is one of my favorite cinematographers. This is the guy that has shot movies like Sicario, No Country for Old Men, Unbroken. The guy is a talented cinematographer, and this movie, it looks really good. But there wasn't like any shot where I was like, that was fucking dope. I like the way that was shot. There wasn't anything like that, kind of like in Sicario, the movie that he did last year. And there were several shots where I was like, holy shit, that was great. From the lighting to the camera setup, everything. So visually, this movie's appealing, and there's a lot of good moving parts to it, particularly of when they're recreating the old cinema scenes in the studios and stuff. I really like that. So visually, it's just outstanding. And the other positive I'll say about the writing and directing is Josh Brolin's character, Eddie Mannix, the guy that runs this studio, Capitol Pictures. He was the best part of the movie by far. And I thought his storyline was really, really good. It was intriguing. There was a lot going on in his character, a lot of conflictions. And the main thing about his character is that we get to see kind of like the day in the life of running a movie studio and the hectic chaos that you have to kind of wrangle in. It's like someone said in the movie, you basically run a circus, which is true. He's like the ringmaster, and he's kind of, making sure all these actors are, well off, and all the directors are calm, and everything's going smoothly and stuff, and make sure you keep everything out of the gossip columns and stuff. So I love Josh Brolin's character. It is absurd to me that his character is so damn good and his story is so intriguing that they bog it down with everything else. So let's get into the cons. There is way too much going on. You need to take some of this shit out. Like Scarlett Johansson's character, she's in there for like one scene. Well, two scenes. Take it out. Her part didn't even need to be needed. Jonah Hill, who's on the poster, he has 4 lines. Take him out. He didn't really matter. The gossip columnist, that didn't really matter either. Even though I understand what the Coen brothers were going for. They were showing kind of like the inner workings of a studio, and then like how the trades get stuff, and gossip column, all that. I get that, but there was so much going on that you couldn't focus on one thing. It was almost like this is a movie for, people with ADHD or something. Like, it was just going this way, then it was going that way, then we concentrate on this. And it's like, why is there a scene about that? That seems important, but it's never talked about again. And then it just fucking runs that way. And it's like, can we just focus on one thing, please? I'm going to tread lightly because I don't spoil anything on this podcast. But with George Clooney's storyline, you guys know in the trailer that he gets kidnapped. And that's all I'll say. I won't go any further. I won't tell you why he's kidnapped or all this and stuff. But that storyline kind of goes nowhere. It's like, it's kind of anticlimactic. It kind of goes up and up, and it's like, okay, it's kind of intriguing, and then just kind of blows in the wind. It's just gone. It's fucking dust. Just poof, it's gone. Those were the two conflicting storylines, were Josh Brolin's character and George Clooney's character. Those storylines were kind of going this way, and then, yeah, eventually they converge at the end. But I seriously think they should have stuck with one or the other. Now, if they were going to do both, you could have done that. There are several points in George Clooney's storyline you could have stopped. You could have been like, okay, that's intriguing. That's enough information to kind of know what's going on. And you could have just not shown anymore. But they kept going and going. And it's just like, okay. It just kind of just ends in that kind of storyline aspect before the end wraps up. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. It was an important part of history, but you should have explored it a lot more. Or I don't know. It's just I can't wrap my head around like the fact that they put all this shit in there and they could have like trimmed it down. It was intriguing. Just if you wanted to do both, you just stop at a certain point. Like I said, guys, it's really hard to fucking talk about because I don't want to spoil anything. Or just take it out completely and just focus on Josh Brolin's character because he was by far the most interesting thing ever in the movie. I was so intrigued by his character. It was insane. And he did a really good job, by the way, but we'll get to that in just a second. As far as the other cons of the acting, like I said, it could have been trimmed down and take some stuff out. It was very convoluted in the storylines and where they wanted to go. They didn't really have a direct vision on where to go. A lot of cool ideas and stuff. I just didn't feel like it was focused enough. And the other thing, I felt like they stayed way too long on the sets. And every time they would move from studio to studio within the studio itself, like the lots or whatever, they would show it way too long. Like Scarlett Johansson's scene goes on forever and ever and ever. Listen, I get it. It's beautiful. It's good to look at, and it really, like I said, it pays a nice homage to that time. However, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter. You could have taken it out. It wouldn't fucking matter at all. And if you do want to show all these sets and stuff, and all the flourishes of the colors and the costumes and stuff, I get that. You want to show it off. Just cut it down a little bit. You don't have to show like full 10-minute sequences. You can cut that shit down. And I guess the other con is that this movie is advertised as a comedy. There may be a few funny moments in the trailer, or in the movie. Sorry, because the trailer makes it seem like it's like a 1,000 miles an hour jokey. When that's not really the case. Like it's very rare in the jokes. It's a kidnapping film. It's a comedy. It's a drama. Like I said, it's actually unfocused in the genres too. But that's just me, like I said. So those are my problems with the writing and directing for sure. But like I said, some of the parts were good. Like Josh Brolin's storyline, the production design, and how visually stunning it looked and how it paid homage. I love that stuff. But the other stuff, it could have been either trimmed down or focused on that more or cut down on that. They should have focused on one thing at most, maybe another thing, but refined it a little bit. But like I said, it's hard to talk about because I don't want to spoil. All right, so let's get into the acting. Like I said, Josh Brolin kills it. I loved his character from start to finish. Even though there were a couple scenes with like him and his family, I was like, okay, that didn't really go anywhere either. That's what I'm saying. Like another scene that was just kind of like, whoops. Yeah, I really loved his character, and there was a really cool scene at the end, with the under themes of like capitalism and capitalism lying in the studio system to please, please the higher up people the most instead of like the average man. So basically, it's like a factory, and it's not really about the art, it's about the money and stuff. So I thought there was some really cool underlying things, but like I said, that's all I'll say. I like I said, there are moments in his character where like he's like really likable and stuff, and like he does some hard hitting things as a boss, and it's like you get what he's doing, you get where he's coming from, and he's got a lot of conflictions dealing with him inside and stuff, and his religious beliefs and whatnot do help him along the way. I thought there were some nice correlations between God and stuff, and like God in the studio system. It's pretty interesting stuff. But he has the most arc and stuff. He has the most interest. I really loved him a lot as Eddie Mannix. Everyone else, to be honest, does fine. There was really no other person that stuck out to me. Like I said, most of the characters could have been taken out. Ray Fiennes plays a director, and he's really cool. He has a funny little scene with I forgot the guy's name, but he plays the cowboy in the movie. That's all I'll say because I don't know his name. But he has a funny scene with the director, and he has some cool moments and stuff. And George Clooney, I don't know what it is about George Clooney, but I've never found him to be funny. Like I said, it's weird, I know, but like because he's been in the business forever, I've never found him funny. To where I'm just like, oh, George, you're a laugh riot, sir. You're a laugh riot. I've never got that impression from him, but he's fine in this movie. Like I said, everyone was just fine except for Josh Brolin, Ray Fiennes, and the new kid that plays the cowboy. I thought they all three were great. Everyone else was whatever. Cinematography-wise, like I said, they really captured the golden age of cinema, if you will. The colors are bright. The music is fast. The camera work is nice and swift. It's got this nice little energy to it. I really appreciate the way it was shot and the way it was lit with the production design, the art design, the costume design. It all works. It's all great. Roger Deakins is a legend. Him and Emmanuel Lubezki are like my two favorite cinematographers working right now, and they're just absolutely divine. I rarely use that word because I'm not fancy enough, but holy shit, they are fucking awesome. So cinematography is bar none fantastic, but it's definitely not like Roger Deakins' like most profound shot or most beautiful, but it is a very well looking movie. No denying that. Editing wise, the movie is about, I think, hour 50, but with previews and stuff, it's gonna clock in about 2 hours. The weird thing is, I never felt bored because I was curious as to where this movie was going to go and how it was going to end, because the Coen Brothers are notorious for having like these open-ended endings, which this one does. So I was never bored, and I was intrigued by the characters enough to where it kept my interest to kind of trudge along the film. Yeah, so I think it's got a nice pace to it, but the fact that it's so messy and there's a lot of subplots that just could have been taken out, when they happen and you don't hear about them ever again, it's like, well, then you start thinking about it and it kind of ruins your experience because you're like, oh, they could have cut that out. Like, I don't understand like why I was there. But I think it has a nice pace. It's not the most well-paced, but it's entertaining enough to keep your interest, I believe. This is really hard for me because I don't know what to grade it. I honestly don't. Like, even before I started recording, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to talk about this movie. I don't, because there are parts I like and there are parts I don't. But I feel like if I give it a C, it's almost like downgrading the movie because just the overall look of it is so outstanding. And I feel so dirty for cheapening them like that. But at the same time, it's bogged down by too much shit. I'm doing this live and I got to come up with something. Because I was debating on either something in the C's or something in the B's, but I think a B is too high because there's too much going on. I'll go C+. I think it's a fine average movie because I think it balances out between all the good stuff and all the bad stuff. Oh, another bad thing, I didn't care for the narration. There was a few scenes that were narrated. Take that shit out. So I think with the overall balance of the good and the bad, I would have given it a C, but I'm going to give it that plus because of the sheer look of it. but I honestly don't want to see this movie again. I really don't. And I even afterwards, me and my roommate were talking. We were trying to think of like what the ending meant and stuff, and how it tied into everything and whatnot. Because essentially, this movie is a day in the life of a movie studio. That's all it is, basically. And I try to find the meaning, and I might have to watch it again. I might bump on my score in the future. And I might find some deeper meaning into it, just like I did with The Serious Man. Because when I first saw A Serious Man, I really liked it. But when I saw it a second time, I really loved it. So, I don't know. Just for me personally right now, not my favorite Coen Brothers movie. Kind of a disappointment in my eyes. There's just a lot of bad going on that I'm just like, whatever. But there's just so much good that I couldn't rate it too low. But I'm going to give it a C+. I think if you are a Coen Brothers fan, I think you'll like it. But I don't think you'll love it. To this moment right now, even after 13 hours after I saw it, I still don't know what to think about it. I'm still confused by it. Like I don't know whether I like it, I dislike it, kind of love it. I honestly don't know. I just don't. But as of the recording right now, because I do need to get this episode up to you guys, that is my thoughts on Hail Caesar. C+. So, have you seen Hail Caesar or haven't you even heard of it? Do you like the Coen Brothers? What is your favorite Coen Brothers movie? What's your least favorite Coen Brothers movie? Comment that place, up my face, and let me know. All right, guys, we're getting to the dessert portion of this podcast, the ending, the last note of this podcast. And so, we're going to talk about the box office results for the weekend. What was the top 5 results? All right, I got the numbers here. First of all, 3 new movies came out this weekend, and one of them actually got 6th place. So I'll go ahead and read 6 out. In sixth place, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Didn't see it, didn't care. Who cares? With $5.2 million, its budget is $28 million. So it made 5.2 domestically, which is the U.S. and Canada. So it needs to make about 56 to break even. Because my rule is you have to double the production budget since a lot are taken out for the theater cuts and you got marketing stuff. So about 56, 60 to break even. Don't know if it can. Number 5 is The Choice with $6.85 million for its opening weekend. Its budget is unknown, but I can't believe Nicholas Sparks movies are still making money. That just boggles my mind. Number 4 is Star Wars The Force Awakens with $6.8 million. And right now, at the recording of this podcast, it has $905 million domestically, which is insane, by the way. And worldwide, it's got $2.8 million, 8.3 million. So it finally did, guys. It reached $2 billion. Now, if you guys want a kind of a gauge as to where it's at worldwide in terms of Avatar and Titanic. Titanic is sitting at $2.186 billion, so it's still got about $178 million to go. It's not going to beat it. And then Avatar, it's $2.7 billion. Got about $780 billion to go, or 80. Sorry, that's a lot. $780 million. Not going to happen. I think Star Wars will rest comfortably at number 3, but that's okay because it made 905 domestically. That is insane. So, yeah, congratulations, Star Wars. You finally hit that $2 billion club. Good for you, my son. All right, number 3, which is The Revenant with $7.1 million. Still my favorite from last year. Absolutely love it. Domestically, it's got 149, but worldwide, it's got 326 on a budget of 135. It needs to make about 270, probably 300 to break even, maybe a little lower. It's at 326. Guys, The Revenant, which cost $135 million, has made profit. Holy shit. I remember when they were going through their reshoots and the cost was just skyrocketing through the fucking roof. I was talking with my friend Jackson and we're like, there's no way. There's no fucking way it's going to break it because this is a niche film for film lovers. I don't think it's going to be a commercial hit. And now look, the fucking numbers don't lie. This movie has made profit. That's awesome, man. It's my favorite movie last year. I'm just glad it's getting love. I don't even know what to say after that. All right. Number 2 is Hail Caesar with 11.4 million and a very modest budget, actually, with the amount of stars that they had. 22 million. Not bad. So it needs to make about 44 to break even. With it making 11 million domestically, there's no worldwide numbers. So I don't know. I don't know if it can do it. It's still, got a ways to go. It's got about 33 to go. I honestly don't know. And the more movies that come out, it's going to be harder for it to reach its numbers, especially next weekend. It's going to be a slaughter. But yeah, 11.4 million. So I don't know. Kind of deserves it. Sorry. Number 1 of the weekend, Kung Fu Panda 3 with $21 million added to it. Domestically, it's got 69, and worldwide, it's got 198, so about to hit 200. The budget is unknown, but I'm assuming with 200 worldwide, it's probably doing okay right now. It's on the right track. So that is it, guys. That is the box office results for the weekend, and that will do it. That's the end of the show, so let's wrap it up. Yeah, so next week, guys, episode 117, I will have my show over Deadpool and Zoolander 2. Now, if you go to my YouTube page and want to be spoiled before next weekend, I have done my Deadpool review. I saw it last Thursday, and so I have my review up, and I won't say anything about it right here. That is for next week's show, but if you just have an itch and you want to hear my thoughts right away, it is on my YouTube page. But if you want to wait until next week as the main topic of the show, or one of the main topics, then you can wait until next week. But, if you want to go to my YouTube page, that would be in the link in the description below, as well as my Twitter is @RealChaseLee. And if you want to follow me on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, all that jazz, you can do just that. Yeah, so next week, like I said, it will be Deadpool and Zoolander 2 is the main focus, and of course the news and the trailers that dropped that week as well. The following week is going to be very interesting because there's not really much coming out, so I don't know what I'm going to have a review over. And then the last weekend in February, whatever's coming out that weekend, I'll probably see, and then I'll have a bonus episode of doing the whole Oscar coverage of 2016. Record for the whole 3 hours and stuff, so that should be fun. So with that being said, guys, I want you to have a good day, good night, whenever the hell you're listening to this. You guys are fucking awesome. You guys are the best listeners in the world. I appreciate you guys listening or watching as you do every single week on this crazy fucking show. You guys are awesome. I'm Chase Lee, and hey, listen, if you listen to this entire movie podcast and you were not a movie fan, well, hopefully I convinced you to be one. I'll see you guys next week for another episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast. Hey, listen, the intro and outro music is done by my friend's band, Fervent Roze. Check them out. Link in the description below. Peace out, guys. Hail Caesar is kind of an iffy thing, but, if you're curious about it, I would still say go see it. But other than that, just be cautious. So I'll see you guys next week for another crazy episode of shit. Just good old shit. Deadpool and Zoolander 2 should be a good one. See you guys next week. See you guys later.